I was born with skin the color of deep earth and warm night skies, the kind of skin that carries history in every shade. My name is Olivia, and I am 23 years old. And from the moment I could walk, talk, and exist in this world, I learned that being a black girl meant being treated as less. Not because I wasn't smart enough. Not because I wasn't kind enough. Not because I lacked dreams or potential or light. But because the world decided, long before I was even born, that girls who look like me are meant to suffer. That we are problems. That we are burdens. That we are cursed. Sensitive. I believed them. 'Cause it's hard not to. It's hard when you sit in classrooms where your hand is the last one called, even though your answer is always right. It's hard when you see the way teachers smile at the white girls, how they praise their politeness, their grace, their innocence. Meanwhile, when I speak, I'm too confident. When I ask questions, I'm challenging. When I stand up for myself, I'm aggressive. They don't see me, they see a threat. Stereotype. A projection of their own fears. I remember being 12 when a boy in my class said, "You'd be cute if you weren't so dark." I laughed like it was a joke. But I went home that night and scrubbed my skin in the shower until it stung. As if I could wash the color away. As if lightening my skin would make me worthy of love. I was 15 when my best friend, a light-skinned girl, started getting attention from boys and compliments from teachers. People called her exotic, stunning, beautiful. Me. I was called strong, bold, mature. They admired my strength but never my softness. They respected my resilience, but never asked why I had to be so resilient in the first place. Even in my own community I felt it. The way colorism made girls like me feel invisible. The way we were taught to shrink ourselves, to be thankful for the scraps of affection we were given. The way people talked about good hair like it didn't grow from my scalp too. And then came adulthood. Job interviews where I straightened my hair, wore the right clothes, softened my voice. Still I saw the way their eyes changed when they met me. Their smiles tightened. Their questions got sharper. I was overqualified but not the right fit. At 21, I worked at a company where I was the only black woman on the team. When I voiced an idea, it was ignored. When someone else repeated it, suddenly it was brilliant. When I wore a bold lipstick, it was distracting. When I wore braids, someone asked if they could touch them like I was a pet on display. Every day, I carried the quiet ache of being unseen. Not because I was invisible, but because people chose not to see me. And still, somehow, I kept showing up. Because deep down, beneath the tired smile, beneath the armor I had to wear just to walk outside, I knew there was power in being me. Even if the world hated my skin, I refused to hate it too. I started unlearning the lies. I started writing down my truth. I started looking in the mirror and saying, "You are not cursed. You are carved from galaxies. You are every ancestor's dream. You are not too much. You are more than enough." I started wearing my natural hair with pride. I spoke up louder. I set boundaries. I chose to be seen even if it made people uncomfortable. Because I am tired of shrinking to fit spaces that were never built for me. I am Olivia. I am 23. I have been broken down, overlooked, disrespected, and ignored. But I have also been rebuilt piece by piece, with a fire that runs through my veins. With a softness I refuse to let this world steal. To every black girl who feels like her life is a curse. You are sacred. You are the storm and the calm after. You are the voice shaking the world awake. They tried to erase me. But they forgot, I write in permanent ink. I used to sit on my bed at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if there was a version of me that would be easier to love. Maybe if I had lighter skin, people would treat me like I mattered. Maybe if my features were softer, if my hair was looser, if my voice didn't carry like thunder when I spoke up, they wouldn't be so afraid of me. Maybe then I could rest. Maybe then I could just be. But that's the thing about growing up black. You don't get to just be. You're taught to survive. You're taught to move through rooms like you don't take up space, like your presence needs permission. You're taught that you have to work twice as hard to get half as far. And when you break, because everyone breaks, the world will blame you for the cracks. They say, "Why are you so angry?" But they never ask what we've been through. They never ask about the trauma tucked beneath our smiles, the way we cry in bathrooms between shifts, or how we had to grow up before we even got the chance to be little girls. I remember watching other girls dream out loud, wanting to be dancers, doctors, artists. Me. I dreamed in secret, because the world already had a script written for me. Imam. Dropout. Bitter. Welfare queen. Loud. Difficult. Unlovable. No one saw my hunger for more. No one cared to. But I did. Even when I doubted it, there was something inside me, some tiny ember that refused to die. And I held on to that ember through the storms. When I was followed in stores. When someone called me a slur walking home. When people smiled in my face but crossed the street when they saw me. When friends joked about how ghetto I sounded. When a guy said I was pretty for a black girl. When I sat in meetings and no one listened. When I felt like my body was both hypersexualized and unwanted. When I looked at the news and saw girls who looked like me murdered, forgotten, left behind. That ember never left. It reminded me that my ancestors survived worse. Whips, chains, stolen names, stolen children, stolen land, stolen dreams, and still found ways to sing, to love, to fight. That ember told me that I am their legacy. That my skin is not a curse, it's a shield, mirror, a monument. So I started doing something radical. I started loving myself loudly. I wore my afro like a crown. I stopped apologizing for taking up space. I called out racism when I saw it, even when my voice trembled. I surrounded myself with people who saw me, really saw me, not just for what I've survived but for what I am becoming. I danced to music that made me feel alive. I wrote poems in my phone about healing. I lit candles for my younger self and whispered to her, "You deserved better." I told the little black girls I meet, "You are magic. You are enough. Don't let them shrink you." Because this world tried to break me, yes. But it also built me. Piece by piece. Lesson by lesson. Scar by scar. Every time they knocked me down, I learned how to rise stronger. Not colder, not harder, but wiser. Softer too. Because my softness is not weakness. It's defiance in a world that wants me numb. So here I am. Olivia. 23. Still standing. Still rising. And I know now. Black girls are not cursed. We are targeted. We are tested. We are feared. But most of all, we are unstoppable. They tried to bury us. But we are the seed. And we bloom anyway. I used to think survival was the end goal. That if I could just make it, get through school, find a job, stay out of trouble, I'd be okay. But survival is not the same as living. And I was tired of living like my existence was an apology. So one day I woke up and decided, I want joy too. Not just moments of laughter between trauma. Not just little sips of peace before another storm. I wanted to bathe in it, breathe it, own it. And that was the beginning. It started with little things. Wearing colors I was once told were too loud for dark skin. Taking selfies without filters. Unfollowing people who made me feel small. Saying no when I used to say yes just to keep the peace. Then bigger things. Going to therapy even though no one in my family really talked about that. Talking to my inner child like she deserved love. Telling my story out loud, trembling voice and all, and watching other girls nod because they had lived it too. I started writing again. Not for grades, not for approval, but for me. I wrote letters to the girl I used to be. I wrote poems that burned and healed. I wrote truths that cracked me open, and in that cracking I began to bloom. One of those poems found its way into a local open mic. And standing on that stage with a trembling paper in my hand, I spoke my story out loud for the first time. I expected silence, but the room snapped, cried, "Good." Afterward, a girl no older than 17 came up to me and said, "I didn't know someone else felt like me." That was the moment I realized. My voice was never too loud. It was just waiting for the right ears. Now I teach young black girls how to write their truth. I tell them their voices are spells, their stories are survival maps. We sit in circles and share pain like poetry, not to stay broken but to remind each other that healing is possible. I've turned my scars into sentences, my silence into songs, my shame into speeches. And every time someone tries to dim me again, I remind myself, I come from women who survived ships. Women who birthed nations in chains and still found a way to sing. Women who danced barefoot in the dirt and prayed to stars. Women who turned kitchens into kingdoms and head wraps into crowns. Am them. And they are me. So yes, I am Olivia. I am 23. I've been followed, doubted, dismissed, underestimated. I've cried myself to sleep, prayed for peace, screamed into pillows, and begged the universe to let me rest. But I'm still here. And now, I don't just exist, I live. I laugh with my whole chest. I love without shrinking. I take up space like I was born to. 'Cause I was. And if no one has ever told you this, let me be the first. You are not cursed. You are chosen. You are not too much. You are just enough. Your skin is not your burden. It's your brilliance. They tried to erase me, but I became the pen. And now I'm writing a story where I win. If you enjoy the story, please like, subscribe and share.